German scientists have been trying for many years to invent a superweapon for the Third Reich. Of course, all these scientific experiments were strictly classified. Many stories, real and fictional, reach us today. The technological and military developments of Nazi Germany during World War II included a wide range of classified projects, from the development of missiles and aircraft to intelligence and nuclear weapons. And some of them were actively used in the war, which we will tell you about right now. A radioactive and deadly bell powered by electricity. One of the fantastic works was on the project Die Glocke, translated as the Bell. General Hans Kammler worked on this project. In fact, the Die Glocke is a vertical metal structure measuring about 10 feet in diameter and 15 feet high. Inside it were two lead cylinders, one in the other. The first rotated clockwise, the second counterclockwise. The movement of these cylinders was carried out using a high-voltage electric current. The cylinders themselves dispersed the liquid metal that filled the entire bell. From eyewitness accounts, it was red mercury, or the mixture it was part of. That was the fastest. The launch of Die Glocke required huge energy costs. Therefore, he worked for no more than 2 minutes. Simply put, Die Glocke is nothing more than a radioactive turbine. G. Kammler and his professors studied the effect of inertial properties of radioactive elements on the environment. However, little is known about the specific results of this project, and many data about this project were classified in the Second World War. The Iron Monsters. German tanks during World War II were among the most technologically advanced and efficient in the world at that time. German industry and engineering developments have led to the creation of several famous and influential tank models. 1. Panzerkampfwagen. 3. This tank was the main battle tank of the Wehrmacht at the beginning of the war. Possessing a combination of armor, weapons, and maneuverability, the Panzer III was effective in the early years of the war, but eventually became obsolete due to the development of anti-tank weapons. 2. Panzerkampfwagen E4, another key. German tank, the Panzer IV was used in various roles, including infantry support and tank battles. He possessed a powerful weapon and sufficient maneuverability, which made him versatile and effective in various situations. 3. Tiger. The Tiger was one of the most powerful and heavy tanks of the Second World War. With its thick armor and powerful 88mm cannon, the Tiger was a formidable opponent on the battlefield, but due to its bulkiness and difficulty in maintenance, it was limited in numbers. 4. Panther. The Panther was developed in response to the advent of Soviet heavy tanks and was considered one of the most advanced tanks of its time. She combined a powerful cannon, thick armor, and good maneuverability, making her one of the most dangerous opponents on the battlefield. 5. Tiger II. This heavy tank was designed as an improved version of the original Tiger. With thicker armor and an improved gun, the Tiger II was one of the most powerful tanks in history, but its production was limited due to limited resources and time. These tanks, as well as other models, made a significant contribution to the fighting of the Wehrmacht and influenced the development of tank technology after the war. However, their superiority was temporary, and over time, the opposing countries developed and implemented new technologies and tactics to counter them. A rocket fighter with a powerful speed of 1,000 kilometers per hour. The Messerschmitt Me 163 was a German missile fighter developed during World War II. This aircraft was one of the first in the world to be equipped with a rocket engine, making it one of the fastest fighters of its time. The Messerschmitt Me 163 was designed to protect German territory from attacks by Allied bombers and could reach speeds of up to 1,000 kilometers per hour, which made it difficult to intercept from enemy aircraft. The aircraft was equipped with relatively short wings, which increased its maneuverability in aerial combat. The Messerschmitt Me 163 used a special type of fuel, hydrazine mixed with hydrogen peroxide, which provided very high thrust and speed. However, this also made its operation dangerous, as this type of fuel was very susceptible to explosions and fires. Although the Messerschmitt Me 163 was a technically advanced aircraft, it had limited combat capability due to its limited range and small number of weapons. In addition, The complexity of maintenance and technical problems with the fuel system have reduced its effectiveness in combat conditions. Despite its shortcomings, the Messerschmitt Me 163 remains an important example of innovative aviation research during World War II and made a significant contribution to the development of missile aviation in the post-war period. The largest artillery piece of its time. The tank Fat Gustav. But it was not a real tank, but was a huge railway artillery piece developed by Nazi Germany during World War II. It was one of the largest guns of its time and is considered the largest artillery piece ever used in combat. Fat Gustav was created to besiege heavily fortified targets, such as fortifications and bunkers. It had a caliber of 800 mm and was capable of firing projectiles weighing up to 7 tons at a distance of about 47 km. Preparing for firing and moving the gun required a huge amount of time and resources, as well as special infrastructure, including railway tracks and cranes. Initially, Fat Gustav was intended for use in the offensive in the North Caucasus, but was later sent to besiege Sevastopol. As a result, it was delivered to the Crimea in 1942 and was used in the battles for Sevastopol in 1942. However, due to its bulkiness, the gun was difficult to hide from enemy intelligence, and it became susceptible to attacks from enemy aircraft and artillery. After the end of hostilities, the Fat Gustav was no longer used and was dismantled for scrap in 1945. It remains one of the most impressive and symbolic examples of engineering and military equipment from the Second World War. An encryption machine for secret messages. The Enigma project is an encryption machine developed by the Nazis to encrypt secret messages. This machine was an important communication tool for the German army during the war, but was hacked by British cryptographers, which helped the Alliance in victory. For the first time, the Enigma cipher was decrypted at the Polish Cipher Bureau in December 1932. Intelligence officers, Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Ruzicki, Heinrich Zygalski, with the help of French intelligence data, mathematical theory, and reverse engineering methods, were able to develop and build a special device for decrypting encoded messages, which was called a cryptological bomb. After that, German engineers complicated the Enigma device and in 1938 released an updated version which required the construction of more complex mechanisms to decrypt the British read enemy ciphers until February 1942, when the German Navy began using the new four-rotor Enigma. The situation was corrected only when, on October 30, 1942, the anti-submarine ship Petard captured the modernized Enigma and its documentation from the submarine U-559. This made it possible to decrypt German messages until the very end of the war. The first ballistic missile for bombing enemy cities and facilities. The V-2 is the world's first long-range ballistic missile, developed by German designer Wernher von Braun and adopted by the Wehrmacht at the end of World War II. The first launch took place in March 1942, and the first combat launch took place on September 8, 1944. The number of missile launches carried out amounted to 3,225. It was used for the purpose of intimidation, hitting mainly civilians. The rocket was a single stage, had a liquid-fueled rocket engine, was launched vertically, and an autonomous gyroscopic control system, equipped with a software mechanism and instruments for measuring speed, came into action on the active part of the trajectory. The cruising flight speed was 1.65 kilometers per second. The flight range reached 320 kilometers. The trajectory height was 80-90 kilometers. The V-2 is the first object in history to make a suborbital spaceflight, reaching a height of 188 kilometers during vertical launch. This happened in 1944. A jet, revolutionary, high-tech aircraft of its time. The Horten Ho 229, also known as the Gotha Go 229, was an experimental German aircraft developed by the Horten brothers during World War II. This aircraft was an innovative strategic bomber with a flying wing and powered by a jet engine. The Ho 229 was one of the first aircraft to use stealth technology due to its flat shape and special coatings that reduced radar visibility. This made it difficult to detect for enemy radars of the time. The aircraft had a high speed and range, which made it ideal for use as a strategic bomber or reconnaissance aircraft. However, only a few Horten Ho 229 prototypes were completed, and the aircraft did not have time to be involved in combat operations before the end of the war. Interestingly, after the war, the United States captured one of the Horton Ho 229 prototypes and conducted a thorough study of its technology and design. This influenced the development of American aviation and led to the creation of new flying wing aircraft, such as the Northrop B-2 Spirit. The Horton Ho 229 remains one of the most unique and innovative aircraft of its time, and an example of Nazi Germany's contribution to the development of aviation technology. A high-tech, space-based solar cannon. The project of a solar cannon capable of wiping entire cities off the face of the Earth. In a state of inactivity, the parabolic mirror was supposed to reflect sunlight, protecting the station crew. With the help of rocket engines, the installation could be deployed so as to focus the sun's ray on a relatively small area of the Earth. It was believed that this would be enough to destroy entire cities. It was planned to place the station at an altitude of about 8,000 kilometers above the planet. There is no reliable evidence that the Germans were seriously working on the project. It is worth noting that the first information about this fantastic weapon appeared in the American press in 1945, right on the eve of the complete surrender of Germany. It is possible that all this was just part of the propaganda needed by the Allies at that time. These inventions, developed during the Third Reich, are an amazing example of technological progress and engineering prowess. In many ways, they were ahead of their time and had a significant impact on the development of scientific and technical disciplines after the war. However, their use in the context of military operations and the ideological goals of the Nazi regime recalls the dark side of technological progress and the need to use scientific discoveries for peaceful purposes for the benefit of mankind. Like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos. And don't forget to write a comment. See you soon.